Hi guys, welcome back to MK Sportscars. Well, a nice little treat for you today. It's the Cup 200 Championship. If you didn't get to see that at Croft, that was the first race of the season a couple of weeks ago now, back in April. We thought we'd show you some onboard footage with the first race win of the season for Boulton, who's come back, had a little test in the car with us. He was a championship winner in the RGB and Sports 1000 series, I do believe, as well. So you can get to see an interview of him and the onboard footage for the race winner. So here we go. I'm now going to head over to Croft.
The scrutineering area, but I can hear some engines making some noises, and I think that means we're going to get going soon.
Yeah, 5-second board has just been shown, so the drivers are going to watch the lights which go red. And they will go out now, and it's a good start by Rich Miles from the outside of the front row by the looks of it. He has got the better of Ryan Yarrow down into Clervaux for the first time. He's on the outside line, and you've got Dan Clues up to second place as Yarrow all over the curb on the turn into Clervaux there. And he bounced around quite wildly there, but he's managed to hold on to third position. It's Paul Rogers in fourth, then it's Clint Newman in fifth place, who was a podium finish on his debut at Alton Park last year. But it's Rich Miles who's made the best start to this race.
Certainly has, into the lead of the race. Very difficult start for Ryan Yarrow as he loses 2 places, and the title rivals from last year going wheel to wheel into Clervaux. We've got a bit of side-by-side, the 44 getting it on the inside of Tower Bend. That was Carl Austin going through there, and then we've got the Cup 200 leaders very nose to tail as they exited the Jim Clark S's, and still going hammer and tongs. Unfortunately, it is still 2 of the white cars that are up at the front of the field, but the one in front is David Watson in the 85.
And Al Boulton is behind him in the 77 car, just ahead of the 44 car of Carl Austin.
Oh, Ryan Yarrow's taken back second place from Dan Clues somewhere, so it hasn't taken long for Ryan Yarrow to reassert himself and try and get after our race leader.
Indeed so, as we're watching the 7 car go through, which is Mark Alexander Williams driving the Mattel, another driver returning to 750 Motor Club action, a long-time kit car racer. But 2 leaders more or less together then as they head through Hawthorne and now towards the chicane. Rich Miles a bit wide, and the car didn't look to handle that well through Hawthorne, so it might give the chance to Ryan Yarrow, the champion, or 3-time champion, to get back on terms. Down the back straight, past the old pit lane, towards Tower Bend they go. They're pulling about a bit of a gap over Dan Clues in third, Paul Rogers in fourth. There's Paul, number 43, champion in the past, used to drive a Contour, now in the Spire. And Clint Newman, I think, in 5th position. There go the 2 leaders flashing through. Yep, there's Newman in 5th. Colin Chapman in 6th position, stalwart racer of RGB and Sports 1000 has become. Then Jonathan McGill and Charlie Sladden switching to a new car for this year, a privateer Mattel, having raced the ex-Tim Hovard Sabre C2A last year.
Carl Austin, the black and red machine, and now Ryan Yarrow's taken the lead back again. So that didn't take very long at all. He lost 2 positions off the start, and at the end of lap 2, he's back into the lead of the race, ahead of the white and red machine of Rich Miles. So Ryan Yarrow very much picking up where he left off at the end of last year. He leads by 0.6 of a second.
Yeah, I think he must have made that move at Sunny, and possibly made the move on the first lap at Sunny as well. Just while we were watching other things, and that's been a very good comeback from Royal, and probably could see that rather rough ride over the curb at Clervaux on the opening lap. There was no real damage done as well, because that might have been a bit of a concern for a moment. So they're pulling away from the rest. Dan Clues there in third in that Mattel with its sort of sleek lines. Then it's the 43 car of Paul Rogers,
2011 RGB champion, same category, just a different name back then, but he's chasing after Dan Clues for 3rd position. And now this is one of the Cup 200 cars. It's one of the Atomic Cup 200 cars. It's the white one, and it's the 85. It's David Watson that's gone off at Tower Bend. He was leading the Cup 200 category last time we were looking at it. and in fact he was across the timing line, but either a mistake or some contact down at Tower Bend, fallen right down the order.
He's still got quite a few cars behind him though. There he is, now up at Sunny, and that's John Cutmore that he's got behind him. So I think he's third in that class now, behind Boulton and the 111 car of Mike Whiteman-Hayward. Ryan Yarrow with best lap of the race at 125.192. Lap record for these cars at 123.64 by Richard Webb just a little over 2 years ago. There is Carlos in 8th place, Charlie Slatton in 9th, who's having what I think is his best run so far in Sports 1000. And then it's going to be Alan Boulton, I think, rounds out the top 10, but also continues to lead in Class B, not Class B, in Cup 200 as well.
You can tell when a flurry of these cars come past us, they make the most fantastic noises, sort of like engines. So there's been a gap forming between the top 5 and the rest of the field, some 6 seconds between Colin Newman and Colin Chapman. There's that battle for 3rd place between Dan Clues, last year's vice champion, and the 2011 overall champion Paul Rogers in that silver number 43 car. There's a little bit further down in the pack. This is the number 34, which is 15th position, and that's Stephen Dean in that black and brown car that is just leading on a couple of the Cup 200 cars, but ahead of the number 12 of Hutchinson as well, which I don't have on my entry list. Because it's the 69. Excuse me, Ian Hutchinson. Where did I get 12 from?
I don't know.
I'll tell you why, because it says position in class, number 12, and I mistook that for the car number, silly me.
Okay, understood. Right, here's... who's that?
I think that's that same battle.
Yeah, it is.
Watching.
I thought for a moment somehow Ryan Yarrow had already caught up with the pack. But
yes.
It's actually about half a lap away from doing that. But it just looked for the moment as if he was going to lunge around the outside of that pack of cars. But right now I can tell you is still in the lead, pulling away from Rich Martin in turn. He's pulling away from Dan Clues as we're watching this battle for, well, this is 15th and 16th, Stephen Dean and Ian Hutchinson turning their way through the right-hander at Clairvaux and then Hawthorne.
Stephen Dean in one of the Tim Gray Motorsport Run cars, running a little wide through Hawthorne though, and letting the 69 of Ian Hutchinson slip through. That's this is Ian Hutchinson's 4th season in Sports 1000. Whereas Stephen Dean not quite used to finding up at the front of the field. He's had the best finish of 6th in one of these races. Who's this? Almost banging wheels towards the Jim Clark S's, and that looks like Stephen Dean losing more places, in fact potentially to the number 9 of Name Huck.
One of the Cup 200 cars coming through there. Then it's the 7 car through next, which is Mark Alexander Williams, and then it's this is the car battle for 2nd within the class. Mike Williams, Hayward and Dave Watson, who's trying to recover after that off at tower a few laps ago. So he turns his way out of the hairpin onto the pit straight. There's still 12 minutes to go in this race. Remember, it's 20 minutes in this one, not 15 as it is in some of the other sprint races. And here comes Dave Watson looking up the inside of Whiteman-Hayward there. Takes a lot of curb at Clairvaux, but nevertheless he's able to get the move done, sealing it at Hawthorne.
Yeah. Mike Whiteman-Hayward was very generous into Clairvaux there, wasn't he? And he is in his 2nd season now of the Cup 200. He debuted at Cadwell last year, whereas David is he's basically one of the brainchilds behind this this whole category of car, isn't he? So he's very well versed with the machine at this point in time.
No, he is absolutely right. So no surprise to see him picking his way through the order. Had some great battles last year with his fellow Cup 200 brain, Rich Webb of RLM.
Is that the Batman logo on the front of the number 15 of Chris Wilkinson? I hope we get to see it again, because I could have sworn it was Batman symbol on that.
Okay, as Yarrow's done another best lap for us, 124.44 now.
8/10 away from Richard Webb's 2022 lap record time now is Ryan Yarrow. He's not exactly pulling away. Oh, big moment for David Watson again. Gathers it up this time, but he took second place a lap ago and very nearly lost it again. Now this is closed up for 4th and 5th between Paul Rogers and Clint Newman, who are fighting for 4th and 5th. And then between Jim Clark S's, Clint Newman was right on the heels of Paul Rogers going into Tower Bend.
Yep, only his second season of racing, Clint Newman, in this Tim Gray Motorsports Spire. He's from Bath, 42 years of age, and he's a postman, so how's he going to get through? Well, he's going to have to send it somewhere.
Have to lick the stamp for it as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Danny Ricciardo style. Well, heading through the complex, and well, it's no mean feat to be challenging a former champion, but there the inexperience was shown, I think, as he locked up and spun the car on the way into the hairpin, and eventually gets it going again, but that has rather nullified the battle for 4th position.
It's a shame, Clint Newman making a bit of a mistake there. While that was happening, Rich Miles set a new lap, not lap record, but a new fastest lap of the race, 1:24.388. It took 6/10 out of Ryan Yarrow that time.
Yeah.
So the gap's down to half a second. Here they are on screen now at Tower, and yep, it's back to being really rather close again, isn't it, between these two? Ryan Yarrow, number 54, the driver from Bury, an electrical engineer, been racing since 2018, already a 3-time champion in Sports 1000. Doesn't really see himself going anywhere else because, as he says, you can't get this kind of performance for this low level of spend. Value for money, Sports 1000 is pretty much unrivaled.
Pound for pound, fastest formula in the UK.
Yeah.
Lap times that will rival British touring cars at a fraction of the cost, and of course famously faster than the McLaren P1 around, wasn't here, was it?
Anglesey.
Oh, it was Anglesey, of course it was. But yes, this battle for the lead, not letting up. We're kind of only at half race distance, and yes, Ryan Yarrow made very quick work of passing both Dan Clues and Rich Miles to get the lead back again in just a couple of laps. Oh, problems for Dan Clues. He's pulling into the pits in that Works Mattel, and that is to go from 3rd place into the pit lane.
That sort of came from nowhere, really, didn't it? Because he's looked to be running strongly, but obviously something has just happened, and he's decided to make a late dive into the pit lane. So that's a disappointing start to the season for Mattel squad. There's Scott Mattel now, just having a word with Dan just to find out what the issue with the car is. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead continues. It's at Tower Bend with nearly 8 minutes left to go of the race. Gap still only about 0.4 of a second between Ryan Yarrow and Rich Miles, and Rich previously raced in the Compact Cup. And has only raced on and off in Sports 1000 for the last several years, really. Like Chris said earlier on, just making a one-off appearance at Anglesey last year, where he had some success, a victory there. When he does come out, it's usually quite quick, but I think budget precludes a full season effort. But he'd certainly be a potential champion if he was able to do all of the rounds. Traffic's starting to come into play here, Chris.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting, isn't it? But Ryan Yarrow lost the win here last year on the last lap as a result of traffic. That Cup 200 car keeping well out of the way at the hairpin. But yeah, flashbacks to last year for Ryan Yarrow, I'm sure, will be playing into his head. Still 7 minutes to go, and less than half a second separating the top two of Yarrow and Rich Miles. Of course, with Dan Clues falling down the order after pulling into pit lane, that has promoted Paul Rogers to the last step on the rostrum and makes it an all-Spire top 3, or in fact top 7 it will be by the time we get down to Carl Austin, actually. But yeah, still no move here from Rich Miles. Still not quite able to just bridge that gap and mount an attack.
Charlie Sladden it will be that will be the leading non-Spire runner now in his Mattel. Is that the ex-Danny Andrew car that he's got? Possibly.
I think you're right.
It's the same colour scheme, certainly.
Yeah, and I think it's the same number as well.
Yeah.
So that would make sense.
Yeah, there's Colin Chapman. He's got his long-time racing buddy Johnny McGill right behind him. They're having a good race. Colin told me in the paddock earlier that there was something a little bit wrong with the handling of the car, but he wasn't really going to do anything about it. He didn't feel he got the right equipment to sort it out, so he was happy enough to leave it as it is today. He was saying he didn't get a lot of testing time in yesterday. The Sports 1000 cars, as that was very close, wasn't it? With Big late on the brakes, and so he's lost a lot of ground to that. Sports 1000 showing their test sessions with Formula V, and Formula V's kept breaking down and doing things and causing red flags. So some of the Sports 1000 competitors won't have had a lot of testing yesterday. Yarrow, meanwhile, has just pretty much doubled his lead, hasn't he? Still only a few tenths of a second, but he's got a bit more daylight over Miles now.
10th and a half he was quicker than Yarrow last time around. This is the 46, getting very tight on the inside. Charles Wright there in the Tim Gray Motorsport Spire. That was up on the inside of...
Number 9.
Number 9, wasn't it? Oh, yes, Heen Huck. So that is for 14th position. Charlie Wright now in his second year of racing, and indeed Sports 1000 as well. Although he seems to have dropped a bit of ground there now, hasn't he?
Find him again. There he is. He's still there with that Honda Fireblade engined car. One of you cars with the Honda engine aboard.
Fond memories of the Honda Fireblade. My old man used to own one.
There's 77, which is Al Boulton, who still leads in Cup 200. He's about 5 seconds clear of Dave Watson at the moment. What are their lap times like? Watson last lap was a 1:31. Boulton was a 1:31 as well, so I suspect Boulton might be able to win this one, having had that mistake, or Dave Watson having had that mistake earlier on in the race. For a moment, don't know really what happened there.
Yeah, we didn't see if there was contact or if it was just a mistake, and of course very nearly dropped the car again on the way into the complex section, but gathered it all up since then, and in fact looks like he's having a run at one of the cars ahead of him, isn't he? Yeah, so he's also looking up the number 7, wasn't it, of Mark Alexander Williams for 10th position, I should say. This is that battle again between Charlie Wright
and Naeem Hack. They're battling over 14th position. And I think they've got the Whiteman Hayward Cup 200 car. The MK chassis just ahead of them. In fact, they're getting ahead of that car now. Very tight into the hairpin, but you've got Rich Miles coming through as well, and off goes Johnny McGill, number 72.
But my question as well is, where is Ryan Yarrow?
Yes,
we just saw Ryan Yarrow's lost the lead of the race.
There he is. He's just gone past our commentary box window, but he's now 7.5 seconds behind. Now, we didn't see what happened to Ryan Yarrow, but somewhere he's had a drama. Yusuf will hopefully find out at the end of the race. But he's still in second place. There's a big gap back to Paul Rogers in third, but Rich Miles has got the lead back, but we didn't quite see what happened to Ryan Yarrow. Bit of a mystery, that one.
Well, yeah, history repeats itself, maybe.
Yeah.
It's astonishing. Ryan Yarrow, the form he was in last year, the only meeting he didn't take a win at was Anglesey, when we had the wildcard appearances from the likes of Rich Miles and Richard Webb at that one as well.
He was in his Cup 200 car. Yeah. So here's Miles. There'll be, I think, probably just one more lap to go at the end of this one.
Makes sense.
20 seconds. Yeah, then needs to get into the line in less than 20 seconds, so he's not going to do that to make it 2 laps. But yeah, Rich Miles now well out in front, 7.5 seconds or so ahead. He's got three cars ahead of him, which he may or may not catch before the end of the race.
Got a Cup 200 car parked, and it is the 83 Alexander Allord, unfortunately. Alloro of Alloro Competizione, the Formula 2 and LMP2 engineer who has had to park up at Clervaux, but the car's very quickly removed.
Yeah, good work there from the marshals. So here's Rich Miles then. I think the last lap board has gone out by the looks of it.
And Ryan Yarrow is even further behind. Now he's 14 seconds behind. And yeah, struggling to get past his Cup 200 car as well.
The lap times for Paul Rogers also went out. He was in the 130s, had done 125s. Clint Newman did a 129, had done 125s. But some drivers are lapping almost as quickly as they had done previously. So I'm just wondering what's going on. Is there something down on the circuit that's caught some drivers out? Don't know. There's Rich Miles. He's up at Sunny. And he's heading back towards the complex for the follow time. He's actually just lapping there Dave Watson in the second of the Cup 200 cars as he goes into the complex. So he's lapped everyone up to including 11th place. Ian Hutchinson in the 69 car would be his next target. 8 seconds to go. Checkered flag will be waved this time. Rich Miles comes out of the hairpin, accelerates onto the start and finish straight. Checkered flag is going to go out, only it didn't go out, so the checkered flag has not gone out to Rich Miles, so we're going to get one more lap out of this then, I think. So he will need to keep pushing on. He's got more traffic ahead of him. He can't afford to back off because he's not seeing that. Now where in all of this is Ryan Yarrow? He's just gone through again, so he's there in second place, and he's now 22 seconds behind.
8 seconds slower.
Only 3 seconds ahead of, we're now showing Clint Newman in third. So what's happened to Paul Rogers as well? So he was going more slowly, so possibly Paul Rogers has got a problem, and Ryan Yarrow's got a problem, and Clint Newman has capitalised. He might get second place out of this.
He may well do. He had a Cup 200 car having a very close moment at Tower Bend. But, yeah, a lot of mystery in this Sports 1000 race, so plenty of questions for Yusuf to ask at the end of the race.
Well, the other thing is when will they declare the result? Because we'd already counted down to 0 when Miles had gone across the start finish line. He was 20 minutes and 3 seconds into the 20-minute race, so he's going to come through again. Hopefully, he will get the checkered flag this time.
Well, it would still be Newman on the podium, wouldn't it? That was how it was at what would have been the checkered flag, I thought.
Yes. So there goes Rich Miles, and this time he does get the checkered flag and he wins round 1 of the Lancang Tyre Sports 1000 Championship. Then at the end of 15 laps, Rich Miles it was that took the victory in car 24. He was 26.987 seconds clear of number 42, Clint Newman, in second place. Third was number 54, which was Ryan Yarrow. Fourth, number 43, Paul Rogers. Fifth was 63, Colin Chapman. Sixth was number 44, Carl Austin. Seventh was 28, Charlie Slazen. Eighth was number 77, a lap down, but winning in Cup 200. Ninth was number 7, Mark Alexander Williams. Then 10th was number 69, Ian Hutchinson, ahead of Dave Watson, who was second of the Cup 200 cars. Lime Hack, Charles Wright, and then Mike Whiteman Hayward, who was third of the Cup 200 cars. A bit further back, we had Johnny McGill. He had a big spin, didn't he, onto the grass. Chris Wilkinson was 16th, and Stephen Dean. We lost Alex Aloro, Dan Clues, and John Cutmore during the course of an eventful race, Chris.
Certainly was. Lots to unpack there. Looking forward to hearing from these drivers.
Really. Boulton, how's it out there? Mixing it up with the A-class drivers?
Yeah, it's good fun. I haven't done a standing start for quite a few years. It's really good to be back in the Sports 1000 2000 paddock. First time in a Cup 200 car, first race in that, so really happy. Thanks to my teammate Dave for going into tower backwards and handing me the lead.
What was the pace like for you? Because there were a few B-class drivers around you, but you seem to pretty much have the measure of everyone.
Yeah, I mean, we tested yesterday, and that's the quickest time I've done all weekend, so I'm really happy with that at 30.5. I was just hoping to get down to the 30s and just really happy. Just had to be consistent. I think I could see Dave kind of catching in the background, so just trying to put in lap after lap and stay ahead. So pleased.
Sounds like it's getting quicker and quicker. So 30.3 tomorrow, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Right, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed that with Al Boulton taking his first win. We're off to Silverstone this weekend, the national circuit, for round 2. I think there's about 8 guys out there going to be competing this weekend. We'll get some onboard footage of that as well. And if you think, gosh, that's a bit of me and I want to get into that, then hook us up a phone call, email here at MK Sportscars, and we can link you up with the Cup 200 Championship, what it's all about, or better still, come along to Silverstone or one of the race meetings and we can talk to some of the drivers. That's it for this week, guys. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and we will catch you next week.